Hi friends, welcome to the Scapegoat Club. My name's Jess. I am a scapegoat and a therapist and a coach. And in this video for Scapegoat Saturday, I'm going to talk about how narcissistic parents will respond to you cutting them off versus how a healthy parent would respond. Stay tuned and we'll talk about it. And to be honest, I think anybody who can understand the basics of relationships will figure out that if you want to have a relationship with someone, you're nice to them. Aren't you? Aren't you? Not if you're a narcissist, no. Hi friends, thanks for being here. So for Scapegoat Saturday today, I'm going to talk about the differences, how a healthy parent will respond to a distance, a cutoff, an estrangement versus a narcissistic parent. My hope is that by understanding what a kind of a healthier response to this would be versus an unhealthy response, it might just really kind of help solidify us understanding what we're dealing with, and then we can navigate, hopefully, in a way that is appropriate for the situation we're in. And these are in no particular order. You might see some of these things, you might see all, and I would suggest that if you're potentially seeing a lot of these things on the list, then you might be well justified in thinking that your parent is not very healthy and not very good at responding to difficult and real emotional conversations. And so the first thing I see is that narcissistic parents will often respond with rage. And I want to differentiate between rage and anger and hurt, because being cut off, being distanced from a child, any parent, is going to hurt. And so there is going to be a kind of questions and difficulties in that space. But the narcissistic parent will really, really become a lot more emotionally dysregulated around this kind of thing. It will be very hard for them to control the anger that they have, and so the rage could come out in various different ways depending on the narcissist. But it could be verbal, a lot of verbal aggression. It could be potentially trying to physically limit you. Hopefully, if it is a physically dangerous situation, then you are able to extract yourself from that. But there is rage, which is, for me, it's a really uncontrolled outward showing of anger, versus anger being a feeling that we feel, and the emotion that we feel. And yeah, we might want to lash out, but we don't. We check ourselves, or we go and do it in private where no one can see us and we can't hurt anybody. So that really is the difference between the healthy and the unhealthy response in this situation. So the second thing that an unhealthy parent will do is they will try and triangulate. What I mean by that is that they don't address us directly with the problem, but they might try and have other people influence and pull us in and do things for them. So they might ask an aunt or a sibling or someone else to talk to us and to let us know what we're doing wrong. It's very hard for a narcissist to have a genuine one-on-one reasonable conversation. That's just not how they thrive. They might try and have a conversation with us to try and steamroller us and tell us that we're wrong and deny it all. But if that's not working, then another tactic will be to use another kind of ally, a person on their side. It might be a flying monkey. It could be a non-narcissistic parent to just try and pull us back into that dynamic. And so the difference is a healthier parent will realize that, oh, there is a problem between myself and my child, my son, my daughter, whoever. And it's up to me personally to try and resolve that. The third thing the narcissistic parent will do is deny any fault, deny knowledge sometimes, deny facts around why the estrangement has happened. That differs from a more emotionally mature parent who will be able to say, okay, there are some shortcomings on maybe on both sides, but that there is definitely an element of things that I could look at and reflect on and resolve within myself, and do that work and try and be honest about that, bring that to the table, and then have a conversation, or try and have a conversation around that piece and acknowledge that there are. This is going to bring me to the fourth one, which I see so often. It's really frustrating, where parents say, oh, well, I know that I wasn't perfect. I know that I had faults, but I fixed them now, and therefore that it doesn't count. So it's saying, yeah, I was at fault, but now I'm not, and therefore it doesn't really count. But no, it does still count. And just because you've decided it doesn't count anymore, or just because the narcissistic parent has decided it's done and they've fixed things, or whatever it is, they've been to therapy and now they're fixed, and now it's up to the child to see that, to appreciate it, or to come back and forgive them because they've done the work. It just doesn't work like that. But I do get it to some extent. It must be very hard when you're realizing, okay, I'm a parent and I have made some mistakes, and I've gone and I've done some work, and I really have tried to improve things, and I want to be able to communicate that with my child. I think what a healthier parent will see, hopefully, is that it is not the responsibility of the child then to say, oh, well, you've been to therapy, therefore I need to give this another chance, or I need to talk to you about it. Part of that therapeutic work is to see that actually there's some harm that's been done here, and it's kind of up to the other person to have space to decide when they're going to come back. And maybe there are ways of reaching out and communicating to say, you know, I have done the work and I am truly, genuinely wanting to find a different way forwards. But to just say, oh, I've done the therapy and therefore now it's not my fault anymore. No, it just doesn't fly. A fifth way that a narcissistic parent will try and deal with cut-offs versus a healthy parent is they will want to talk, they have a meeting, whatever it is, but that meeting, that talking about it, is done from a perspective of they want to push their agenda, versus they genuinely want to have a conversation to understand what the problem is, what the blockage is, what the barriers are to being able to have a better conversation. So they will try and have a conversation with their destination in mind. And yeah, it kind of makes sense that if you're going to talk to someone who you're having a difficulty with the relationship, and you want to hopefully move forwards from less contact to more, yeah, you're going to want to have a general direction. But that's a different thing to, okay, let's meet up and I'm going to steamroller you into what I want, and no matter what you say, there's going to be no way of me really reflecting and thinking about how I can change my behavior and help the relationship. The sixth thing that I have on my list of how narcissistic parents can respond to estrangement is I think it's just so, it just says everything about what we need to know about some narcissistic parents, which is they just use name calling. And if it's not name calling, it's using words to just downplay our character. So the names can be, I've heard things like brat. Like, really? You're going to call your child a brat and then expect them to want to have a relationship with you? I'm just dumbfounded by that. I really am. So I'm sure there's other words that I haven't heard, but things like calling them selfish, entitled, spoiled, woke as well. That's a good one. So it's basically throwing out negative words to their child, because basically they don't like what they've done. And what it is it's name calling, it's childish, it's juvenile, it's like toddler ways of acting, and it's just no. And so what a healthy parent would do would be to just not throw out mean, nasty words towards their child. And to be honest, I think anybody who can understand the basics of relationships will figure out that if you want to have a relationship with someone, you're nice to them. Aren't you? Aren't you? Not if you're a narcissist, no. It's about duty, it's about family roles, and it's about what we have to do and what we must do. Number 7, how a narcissistic parent might respond to estrangement is pretending that it's not happening. And we might actually not see that if we are the person that is estranging from them, but it can happen with friends and acquaintances, other family members perhaps, because it's such a wound to the narcissist that they don't want other people to know that their child won't speak to them. It's a horrible thing to have to acknowledge. So if they don't have a good way of explaining it, which they'll probably find, they'll make something up, let's face it, but they probably don't want to go around telling the world that their nearest and dearest don't want to have a relationship with them. So pretending that it's not happening kind of comes back to the denial piece of narcissism. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. A healthy parent, or someone who's trying to deal with it, will actually reach out for help. They might talk to a friend, they might reach out in a group setting, they might talk to a therapist, because they're realizing that, yeah, it's hard and it's harmful and it hurts them. And also there's that element of realizing that there's some work that they need to do, and also they want support. And the last thing on my list I have is retaliation. And this is something that narcissistic parents will do. I guess to loop it back around, it's probably related to the rage, when they're so hurt and they're so angry that they want to hurt us in return. So they might do it like for like. They might cut or influence other people and cut other people off to kind of revenge because we cut them off. So they want to kind of show us how it hurts. Or there might be other retaliation. They might try a smear campaign against us. They might try and cause trouble for us, say at work. They might try all sorts of devious ways where they can really hurt us. So the retaliation is very different to the healthier parent who will, again, sit back, reflect, realize that actually by causing more harm or going after that person, it's going to be more likely to push them away. So a healthy parent, instead of retaliating, will realize that if their child doesn't want to talk to them, that the more they push them and the nastier they are to them, the less likely they are to want a relationship. The narcissist just doesn't really get that far, which is kind of sad. So, friends, I hope that was helpful. Please leave me a comment below. Do you have any other comments or other ideas as to how narcissistic parents will respond to estrangement? You can subscribe if you haven't joined the club already. You can check out my website. That's got information about my coaching and also stuff written on the blog there. And as always, friends, whatever you're dealing with, whatever brought you here today, I wish you well. Please take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.